Hawkfanatic, brought to you by our friends at Deary Brothers Ford on Mormon Trek in Iowa City. Hawkeye Title and Settlement, Steve Anderson and his very talented crew. Mike's E-Keys for Cars, GT Car and Supple's Building and Remodeling. Speaking of talented crews, 800 Rose and Hawkeye Courier. The Midtown Family Restaurants, one of KCJJ's favorites. Harty and Stocker Jewelers in downtown Iowa City. They'll be busy the next couple weeks getting up ready for Valentine's Day. Diamond Dream Sports Academy in North Liberty. Senior Benefits. Premier Automotive. Hit a deer call Premier. The Oxyoke Inn in the Amanas. Our friends at Streets Maintenance. Dr. Lance Forbes and his staff at Diamond Dental in Cedar Rapids. And Big Dog Tech Solutions. It's Tom Suter, everybody.
And Pat Harty is coming down the lane.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes. He is here.
Okay.
So how was your and Tommy's show? I didn't get a chance to listen too much.
Oh, it was very good today.
Good.
We had a lot of information, some yucks, some fine music.
Perfect.
And I think that's a good way to start the day.
So you're settling into a groove?
I believe we are, yes.
A month-long groove?
Yeah. Because Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, we got Hawkfanatic, so that's one type of show.
Uh-huh.
And then Tuesday and Thursday, it's kind of long form because we've got more time to fill.
Yeah.
So, we got it pretty much figured out.
That's good.
And then Mr. Heath will be anchoring the show on Saturday and Sunday, so that'll give Tommy and I a chance to have a day off.
Yes.
So
which you need.
Yes. I'll be off tomorrow, and then Tommy's off on Sunday. And then we are back again on Monday.
And then back at it.
Yeah. So give us a quick update.
I was just going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Ordered some things from Walmart yesterday for Steve and Jan to be delivered between 4 and 6 yesterday.
Yes.
So that's good, just to fill up the refrigerator. Taking both Steve and Jan to PT today. Oh. That's at 12:30.
Okay.
So it's helpful that they're at the same place at the same time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes. Yeah. And I believe my blushing bride's going to help me out to do that.
That's really nice of you guys.
Well, I mean,
you guys have been part of this for 30-some years.
I mean,
yeah.
Happy to help in any way
Absolutely.
that we can, as everybody is.
Yeah. I'm going up to Solon on Saturday for that kettle fried chicken dinner. I'll be dropping a couple off for Steve and Jan.
Oh, yum. Kettle fried chicken.
Yeah. And you've had the cheesy potatoes and all the other sides too. You know how good it is. So
yeah,
that's kind of their first big one of the year, and then we'll have the Lenten fish fries coming up sooner than you think.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, so.
which Steve and Jen will like.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So from what I understand, Steve is in a little pain, but it is to be expected.
He used the term excruciating.
Well, of
yesterday.
course. Why wouldn't you?
But he's like anybody else. The first 2 or 3 days are going to be rough.
You're going to be damn sore.
And then, after that, it'll start getting better. And he's getting around.
Well, that's a good sign.
Obviously able to get to the restroom and get to the refrigerator and all that stuff. So he's doing as well as you could expect anybody to do.
So is he just kind of hanging out on the couch? And
yes, exactly.
He's got his feet up and everything?
Yeah, we got the ice machine there, and yep.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and he's doing okay.
Yeah, he is. He's not running laps or anything.
Well, of course not.
But he's doing okay.
Well, he's not in agony.
No.
That's good.
Although the term excruciating
well, of course it
implies a certain level of anguish.
I guess so. But anyway, we'll muddle through while he's gone and work our way up to his recovery. So.
And he's doing fine.
Good.
That's exactly what you would expect at this point. One caller said this. I was going up and downstairs on the second day. It ain't that.
Well, and Steve's not 25 years old either.
Well, no, that's true too. That's true too.
So there's that.
Yeah. Well, good morning, Pat.
Good morning.
How are you?
Hanging in there.
All right.
Kind of a busy day for the Hawkeye teams.
No, not at all.
Well, I mean, there's
no basketball.
I understand that, but I mean, women's golf is out, track and field, swimming.
This has actually been our slowest week of the. I mean, there's been nothing this week.
No, it's been slow.
Nothing since the Northwestern basketball.
Well, that's been nice. I mean, and I was talking to Mike Kalash. He took 3 days off this week because basketball has 8 days off. Women didn't play from
Tuesday
to Sunday. They had 4 days off. So yeah, no, this has been a really nice kind of week to exhale.
Kind of chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got wrestling tonight, but that's out there. Wrestling at 6:00 against Penn State. So no, things pick back up again next week.
They do. Sunday will be a heck of a day.
It should be, yes.
Yeah. So you say Dallas is covering that for Hawkfanatic?
Yep, I promised him he could do that, and he really wants to, so I'll watch it from home. I mean, I didn't watch. I mean, Susan covered most of. I covered maybe 3 or 4 Caitlin games in person because Susan always covered them.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was able to survive.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Caitlin games, the Fever are going to play a game May 4th here, Carver Hawkeye Arena against the Brazilian Nationals.
That should be exciting.
Well, I would think so. I would imagine. I saw their secondary market's already got tickets for them.
How is that possible?
I don't know, but they have large sections, and the highest I saw was $1,067. And these aren't primo seats. I mean, section KK is one kind of on
in the corner,
one of the corners,
right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you've sat in KK before.
I have, yes. Yeah. Not a horrible seat, but not the greatest either.
So I believe
not $1,000.
Not $1,000 worth. No. So it's going to be. I imagine that the season ticket holders get first shot at those. I imagine.
I would think so, given the fact that you guys are, dropping a lot of money into the program on a yearly basis. That would probably give you a little priority, but they should have some way for the average fan to get access to tickets without having to spend $1,000.
Without having to go to the secondary market. I hope so.
I hope so too.
Yeah. Because Molly was talking about that yesterday, saying it's absolutely absurd that she had to fly to England to get tickets less than $600 to see Taylor Swift. It was cheaper for her to fly to England
than to go see her like in Chicago or
yes.
something. That's just nuts.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
It
It's
is.
not right.
No, it isn't.
Why don't... What can people do? Is there anything they can do about it?
I know
some kind of regulation.
The Biden administration was trying to do something about secondary markets. I know they were trying to get rid of the hidden fees, and that the fees would be included in the price, which that does really tick you off.
It does. It is annoying.
The one time I saw the Rolling Stones in Chicago at the Aragon Ballroom, it was irritates you.
It is, and they do add up.
Yeah. So I hope I don't know where they stand with that, but they were working on putting the fees up front. So when you got the ticket price, it included everything.
But you really, shouldn't have to fly out of the country to get a better price.
No,
that's ridiculous.
It is. It certainly is. But I don't know. So I assume that the women's wrestling team, they'll be playing at the Grandview Open in Grandview tomorrow. That's the end of their regular season, I believe. I know the dual season's done.
Yeah, the Grandview Open.
Is that up by Des Moines, Grandview?
I believe so. Isn't that right, Pat?
It's on the east side of Des Moines.
Yeah.
Okay. And then men will be not only at Penn State tonight, but then they'll be at Maryland on Sunday afternoon. So they'll be busy.
Yeah, well, it's going to be an interesting match tonight.
Yeah.
I think a little more than usual, or than the last few years. I think we have a slightly better shot. But, got to wrestle. We'll see. Certainly not. We're not going to be favored, and we're not favored, but should be competitive.
Women's golf is playing down in Guadalajara, Mexico today. That's not a bad gig, I wouldn't think. Track and field is down in Columbus, Missouri for one meet, and in South Bend, Indiana for another.
The Collegiate Invitational down in Guadalajara.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And then I think the men's golf team starts up again, not this weekend, but next weekend. And then gymnastics is underway, and so there's some UI sports going on today, but like Pat said, it's not stuff that like basketball. The basketball's been kind of quiet this week, so which is, as you said, kind of nice.
So gymnastics at Nebraska Saturday. Now Ann and I went last Sunday to the gymnastic, the opener in Carver Hawkeye, and it was really good. We thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought there were probably a couple thousand people and so many young girls.
That's excellent.
Which I thought was really cool.
That is good.
Yeah.
That is good. But the big news yesterday was the announcement of the Fever game, so we got that.
So is that something that is of interest to Hawkfanatic, Pat, or no?
What do you mean?
Caitlin's Indiana Fever being here?
It's on our webpage.
Yeah.
I mean, I posted the story, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely drove a little traffic, but yeah, I mean, if it's involved, I don't cover everything Caitlin does.
No, and of course not.
But no, I put that up there because that involves Iowa fans, and it's going to be at Carver Hawkeye. So yeah, that was definitely a Hawkfanatic story.
Cool beans.
We've already gone over the fact that our foundation made some donations to the area charities and stuff like that. So that's pretty awesome.
So, social media just drives me nuts. There was some, I think it was Facebook, but there was some a-hole that got on there and said, it's about time she did something nice for someone other than herself.
Wow. She's been doing things nice for a long time.
I mean, come on.
Was probably just doing it to get a rise.
Oh, of course.
I mean, that's what it is.
But that's exactly
Try to ignore them.
Yeah. Well, it's not easy sometimes, you know.
Yeah, because...
But yeah, that statement is just absurd.
And the best thing to do is just keep scrolling. That's all you can do.
I don't know.
Some people like to get on there and fight. I don't particularly like doing that. I like to observe. That's all.
I get tired of the snark.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
What, on Facebook? Because you don't go on Twitter, do you?
Well, no, but I still see some Twitter things sometimes. People will post things from Twitter on Facebook. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cross-pollination.
Maybe you should stay off Facebook.
Well, maybe I should.
I mean, I'm only on Twitter for work stuff. I hardly ever go on Twitter anymore.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it. Especially now with all the political stuff.
It wears you down, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. It does.
There's plenty of that.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
So, one of the things that is concerning to me...
Are we going to go through the women's schedule again?
No, men's.
This will be the third or fourth show in a row we've done this.
Because it changes every time. Because now... as far as Iowa making the Big Ten, the men making the Big Ten tournament, that's getting a lot tighter. Washington remains at the bottom at 1-8.
But if Iowa wins, if they come out and win against Purdue, which is there's a chance, we're going to talk about how they're back. They're back in a better position.
Well, it would be back in a better position.
I don't know. I mean, we just go through this every week, and they just got to keep playing, and I just don't think we can reach any conclusions today. I mean,
no, probably not. We do have. Let's see.
But whether I think they're going to win or lose these games, which we've got, none of that has changed because of what I'll say the same things I said. What's today? Friday.
It is.
I'll say the same things I said Wednesday, Monday, and last Saturday when we talked. I haven't changed.
Okay, did we talk about the fact that we have 4 games against the teams that are battling it out for the Big Ten tournament at the bottom?
Yes,
we did. We covered that.
Yep, and I think I had them losing. I think I had them losing either 3 out of 4 of those, or maybe splitting.
Well, might be.
I'm still sticking with they're going to win somewhere between 8 and 10 conference games.
Because we got 3 of those 4 on the road, which ain't going to help.
I mean, Nebraska beat Illinois at home last night. So, I mean, but Iowa doesn't play Illinois at home. Iowa plays Illinois there, and I'm almost certain they're going to lose that game.
Yeah. Yeah. That's rough, man. You know, and of course, social media has Fran packing his bags.
Yeah, they do.
For sure.
They do. They say this is it for Fran.
Where's that now?
Social media, on Facebook.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen much on Twitter. I mean, well, I don't pay any. If there's some idiot on Twitter saying it, to me, that doesn't count. I mean, I just don't. I mean, yeah, I've seen people. What do they say? They're hearing that he's done, or
no,
they're saying they want him done.
He should.
Oh, that's
be done.
different. Okay,
yes.
That's different than.
No, nobody's hearing that he's done. No.
Yeah. Okay. If people want to have that opinion, that's fine. I mean, and best way Fran can fight that is to win. But even if they have a losing season this year, unless he chooses to, he's not going to get fired.
What if we win one more game this season? Do you think that
okay,
would be...
well, possibly, but I mean, you really think that's going to happen? It's amazing. It's amazing how quickly you lose faith in men's basketball, and yet with football, you'll stick it out. Till I mean, that is Fran's biggest problem is he doesn't have the support of fans like Kirk does. Because football's really been no better than basketball. I don't care what people say; it really hasn't been.
No, not really.
People will argue, oh, no, basketball, it's all the NCAA tournament. Well, no, it's not really.
No, not to me.
But I mean, I just think so many people they give Kirk way more of a leash, way more room to struggle than they do Fran. And when Iowa won the Big Ten men's basketball tournament in 2022. Mm-hmm. I mean, and football's won a couple division titles. I mean, it's very comparable. Because to me, if you play in the Music City Bowl in football, that's like making the NIT in basketball, and that's how I look at that, and that's how I look at that, and see, you're going to try to spin it to football.
I would say that's equivalent of making not a great seed in the NCAA.
I wouldn't say that.
Well,
I
would
say it's the NIT.
Well, okay,
I would say
NCAA.
To me, making the NCAA tournament is getting like the Outback Bowl. I mean, especially the way things are now. I mean, the bowls don't matter near as much to me, though. No, the Outback Bowl would be an 8 or 9 seed in the NCAA tournament. But I mean, football and men's basketball have been very similar, and yet Fran's job's in jeopardy. And the fan support. I mean, seriously though, the records are very similar.
Oh no, I agree with you.
I mean, Iowa would have made the tournament in 5 out of the last 6 years had they done the COVID thing.
Yeah.
And that's similar to Kirk winning 8 to 10 games and where Iowa collapses is in the NCAA tournament. They lose. Well, what happens when the football team gets into a big game?
Well, in the last few years, we've lost them bad.
That's what I'm saying. So it's very similar.
I'm not arguing with you.
I'm just, that's just this perception, though. I'm seeing this out here more and more that Fran is in such a different position than Kirk, and I don't see it. And I don't like one more or less than the other. I don't have anything personal. I'm just looking at it objectively. And it's just I find it odd that Iowa hasn't won a title in football in 20 years.
Yeah, I know.
And, I mean, but they're both, to me, kind of in similar positions. And yet you got Fran will be done at the end. The biggest problem is Fran doesn't have the fan support. Football is still filling the stadium, but it's also a little different. I mean, basketball games are different than football games. Football games are an event.
No, exactly.
I mean, that's your whole Saturday. That's your day.
Absolutely.
So it's hard to compare a Tuesday night 8 o'clock basketball game to a noon or 1 o'clock football game or something. It's apples and oranges to me. So it
is apples and
like
oranges.
I said, I don't think either coach should be fired. Neither coach should be close to being fired. But yeah, we were talking about that. I was talking about that the other day with somebody. We compared the Music City Bowl to being like in the NIT, and then we said the Outback, and that's like a low seed. Especially now that 12 teams make the playoff. Uh-huh. I mean, but yeah, that's just where things are right now. And yeah, there's a lot of fans that don't really care about men's basketball right now, and you can see that by the attendance. I get that. And that's a problem that's on Fran's shoulders. It's not all on Fran. Problem. It's not on Fran, but still, but to say that Fran's there because he hasn't won as much as football, that's not true. Football is just a more popular sport here at Iowa right now, and football Saturdays are different than, like I said, a basketball on Sunday afternoon or basketball on Tuesday night. It's just hard to compare the two.
And Fran's been competing with women's basketball the last few years.
Well,
not so
and
much this year.
Too. And there's only so many, Ann and I do go to all the events But, some of those weeks when there's 4 games card, 2 men and 2 women, that's a lot.
It is.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of time. It's a lot of money.
If I had to choose between going to see the women's team and the men's team right now, it would be the women.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not always like that, but it's like that now.
Right.
But, okay, let's say the women lose, 6 of their next 7 games. I'm not going to really be in a hurry to go to that last game either.
That's true.
So, there's a lot of basketball to be played. And
do you think either one make the tournament?
I don't think the men will.
But I think the men have a better chance.
You do?
Yeah.
Making the NCAAs?
Yeah. I mean, they don't have a USC or a UCLA. And, Tom, the women are, 3 games below? I mean, they have a worse conference record than the men right now.
And they're 3-6, are they not?
Yes.
Or 4-6?
I think the men are 4-6.
They are, and the women are 4-6.
So, yeah, I mean,
so they're the same.
So, but the women have a much tougher schedule than the men.
Yeah, they still have to play USC and UCLA. You're right.
But see, I just think, and you're an example of the fan. You're just gloom and doom about men's basketball right now. I'm not knocking you. That's just where you are. You assume the worst with men's basketball, and that's a deal that's something Fran's got to deal with. You're no different than a lot of Iowa fans right now. That with the men, oh no, they're not. They don't. You think they got a worse chance than the women? Or a better chance? Yeah, I do, and I'm looking at it objectively because the women have, to me, at least 3 sure losses.
They do, but we're favored in 2 games, and the men are going to be favored in maybe 1.
Well, we don't know that now. Things will change. I mean, it's so fluid. I mean, if the men win 2 or 3 games in a row, then the games you're saying that they're not favored, you can't. I don't look at things like that.
Okay.
But, I mean, and how do you know that the men are only going to be favored in 1 more game?
It's according to Torvik site.
Okay, well, see,
they go through all the games.
I don't pay attention to any of that stuff. I mean, but
they're
I just think there's just this attitude about men's basketball right now that's just negative.
Yeah.
And that's something Fran's going to have to deal with.
Well, part of that is Minnesota came in here and beat us, and at the time anyway, they were the last place team in the conference, and that's
now they've won 3, 4 in a row.
They have.
Yeah, and I could argue, and I'm not against the women. The women lost at a bad Illinois team.
Yes, they did.
I'm just telling you. I'm just trying to balance this and look at it objectively. I want them both to win every one of the games they have left.
Mm-hmm.
But
of course.
But there's just this image now that Fran's going to have to deal with if he does continue to coach here. I don't have a feeling either way. I mean, I could talk myself into thinking he's going to retire after this year, talk myself into thinking he'll go a little bit more, but he's definitely got a disconnect right now with men's basketball, and you're just kind of symbolizing that. Just could assume the worst with men, still have hope with women in football. That's kind of how things are, it seems like.
Well, I think part of the thing, I mean, there's still the women's basketball are still cashing in on the Caitlin push.
I know, but Caitlin doesn't play for me anymore.
I know, but it was such a great period.
Oh, I get that,
Yeah.
but it's over.
I know.
And that's
I'm aware.
Well, this Iowa team this year, I know they're only 7-11, but man, Caitlin played for them last year. Let's let them in the tournament. I've heard people say they think they'll get the benefit of the doubt because of Caitlin. She's not on the team anymore.
I haven't heard that. That's
I have. I heard the announcers the other day. Oh, Iowa, if they're on the bubble, they're going to get the benefit of the doubt because of what they've accomplished. Okay,
they haven't accomplished anything.
No, they're talking about the program's image now, name and everything. They're suggesting like teams like Kentucky, when they're on the bubble, they're always going to get the advantage because they're Kentucky. They're saying the women are like that. Now, maybe they are, but I mean, we'll see. I'm not real confident either one's going to make the tournament, but I would give the men a 45% chance, the women about a 40% chance. That's where I am right now. Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, the men did not show well in Ohio. That was not a good performance.
No, it wasn't, and Minnesota was not a good performance.
But Minnesota, though,
they've played well lately.
I think they've won either 3 or 4 games in a row. And then Maryland game's looking a lot tougher now. Maryland's 7-4 in the conference. That's at Maryland. I mean, Maryland's 17-5 overall. They're one of the. They have a chance to really finish way up high.
Well, Minnesota has won 3 of their
3 in a row, I think.
3 of their last 4. They lost their last one. I don't know who it was against, but they lost their last one, according to the Big Ten statistics.
But no, I find it's an interesting debate though between football and men's basketball because there's some people, if you bring it up, they're like, what are you talking about? How can you compare men's basketball to football right now? And then you give them the information, and they still won't agree with you, but they'll be like, I think they realize, oh God, it's not as wide as I thought, and it's just not.
No, it isn't.
I mean, like I said, to me, an 8-5 football season with a loss in the Music City Bowls, like it's an NIT. That's just my opinion. Okay. It's an NIT basketball season, and
fair enough.
And we'll see. I mean, like I said, I think both these teams are gonna probably struggle to make the NIT if they don't finish.
Got to win some games.
Well,
I mean that's the bottom line.
I mean, if they both have long losing streaks, if they they're in danger of barely being above 500.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I don't think, like I said, I don't think the women, how many games do they have left? They have 8 games left, right?
I believe 8.
Yeah, I'm guessing they're going to go like maybe anywhere from 3-5 to 5-3. I know that. I mean, I can't see, although I watched a little bit of USC last night, they didn't look that good. They struggled at times against Minnesota. But Minnesota is
they're a lot better than they were supposed to be.
Yeah, that game at Minnesota is going to be tough.
Yes, it is.
And Juju only had 2 points in the first half. She really struggled.
What'd she finish with?
20. She had 18 in the second half, and I think she had like 12 rebounds. But man, she had to work for her points. But Minnesota plays much better defense than Iowa.
Did Kiki Iriafen play?
Yeah, she did. She played, and she was a big factor. Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so she's healthy. But no, they did. I mean, well, we've talked. Oh, USC's really struggling this year. They've lost once. And they're undefeated in conference play. But I just think they're not beating teams quite as convincingly as UCLA.
Well, they're not.
But still, they're beating everybody other than one team, and they won at Maryland. You know,
they did.
So this will be a great accomplishment. This would be one of the biggest wins for women's basketball outside of the crazy NCAA tournaments, and this would rank up there with almost any regular season win Caitlin had.
Absolutely.
If they were to do this. But like I said, I'm not overly confident. I give them about a 30% chance. If it was at USC, I'd give them about a 5% chance. But I think here, and sooner or later they're going to come out and just play a great game. They haven't done that for so long.
That's right.
And
they did against Washington.
Yeah, it was.
Washington wasn't very good.
Well, they won at Michigan State last night. Oh no, Oregon won at Michigan State last night, and Oregon beat. Oregon was. I watched the Oregon game. Oregon looked terrible against Iowa.
Terrible.
But Iowa was so bad they didn't. Wasn't that 50-49?
Mm-hmm.
Oregon looked terrible, but they won at Michigan State pretty easily, I think. And I think Michigan State's another team that they're pretty good, but they're not. I mean, outside of, you get past the first 3. Ohio State third on the list. I think there's a drop.
They're at Oregon 163-59. So yeah.
And that was at Michigan State, wasn't it?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of disappointing for Michigan State, but Oregon, that was a nice win for Oregon. God, against Iowa, they couldn't score.
No, that was.
But the Iowa offense in that game was just non-existent. I'm not sure that game and the Illinois game to me are probably their 2 most mystifying losses this year.
And disappointing.
I mean,
we had such a good start against Oregon, and they weren't very good that night.
Well, and Illinois is without its 2 best players.
Yes, yeah.
And wasn't that game like 63-57?
Yeah.
The offense was really in a funk. I mean, USC, I've watched them play good defense at times. I've also watched them just outscore opponents, too. So it'll be interesting to see, because I do think USC is going to come in here extremely motivated by the circumstances.
Oh, I would.
My concern is that the circumstances might backfire even more than had it just been a normal game with USC coming in here without the Caitlin stuff, because I think that's going to fire up Juju and all those other players, because they're going to want to show their stuff.
Sure they are.
So we'll see. Like I said, it's going to be interesting, and the fact that they're doing it after the game is, I mean, probably. I mean, you wouldn't want to do that before the game.
No,
it's and
you don't want to do it at halftime. I wouldn't.
I wouldn't think. I mean, there was some talk that some people thought it was going to be at halftime, because we didn't know until just a couple of days ago. Mm-hmm. That they were going to do it afterwards, and but yeah, no, that makes the most sense. And if they lose, it's going to be tough. But they've dealt with senior day losses before. The men and women both have, and so it will be interesting to see. Will also be interesting to see if like Juju and the USC players. I wonder if they'll stay, if they will
stay and watch,
or just maybe get off the court, but then watch from the tunnel or something. If I'm Juju, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see see what Caitlin says and what have you. So
I think you probably said it. If they do watch it, it'd be from the tunnel, probably.
Unless they lose. If they lose, they may just get in that locker room and want to get the hell out of here. Because like I said, that is always possible. I do not think it's going to happen, but
it is.
What chance? Like I said, I'm giving Iowa 25 to 30% chance.
I'd say 20 maybe. I'm not confident at all, but.
And then UCLA. When's the UCLA game?
That's in.
Is it like February 8th?
That's towards the end. February 23rd.
23rd. Okay.
Third to the last game. So.
Third to the last game. So, yeah. Now that we've had this there's going to be a lot of games in a short period of time now. I mean, it's odd that the men had 8 days off.
It is
in January.
Did it just schedule work out that way?
Well, they had a stretch where they played 4 games in like 5. They had that. I think somehow that's just the way it works out. Instead of just having it be a steady distribution of games, sometimes they throw a bunch in a short period, and then you get a little time off. And maybe this will help them. Maybe having 8 days off, but sometimes that can backfire too. But they weren't playing very well before this 8 days off. That game at Ohio State was very disappointing.
So now, do you think Josh Dix is injured at all, or is he just not playing well?
Well, I don't know. What do you mean, his wrist?
Yes.
Well, if he's injured, why is he's playing? He plays 35, 40 minutes. I mean, is he banged up? Maybe, just like so many other. But no, that is not an excuse. Why is that? What's on the message boards?
No, I'm wondering myself because he looked like one of the best basketball players I've seen.
Well, have you ever thought that maybe teams are defending him a little different, and maybe Iowa's just not doing a good job of getting in the ball, and maybe he's struggling to get open. But if he was injured, he wouldn't be playing. But I just think that's something Iowa has to adjust to. But he's not getting shots.
No, he's not.
And right now, their offense is just out of sync. I mean, the Ohio State game was just. I mean, he did 2 games ago, had 11 points and 8 assists. I think he had a career high in assists. So, but no, their offense is just out of sync right now. They're just really struggling to score. That Ohio State game was just. No, Ohio State they won last night at Penn State. They beat them. So the Ohio State's 5-5 in Big Ten play now, 13-8 overall. They're back on the NCAA bubble. Mm-hmm. So I mean, they seem to be getting things together, and they played that game at the small rec hall at Penn State because I'm guessing they must be getting the wrestling match ready for. And they didn't want to do all that stuff within 24 hours.
Makes sense.
It's neat too because the arena was packed, but man, Ohio State just controlled I watched part of that game. Penn State was down like 6 to 15 points. It seems like the whole game at home. Penn State looked terrible, and Ohio State's starting to play better.
They are.
And Penn State was a team early I thought was good, but now they're not. Maryland's the team that I thought was good early, and they are showing signs. Maryland's 7-4 and 17-5.
They are. They're showing signs.
They're good, and that's going to be Iowa has to play there. Has to play at Rutgers. Yep. Still has to play at Nebraska. Yeah. And those are those. I mean, I would probably guess all 3 of those would be losses. Where I'm at right now.
Yeah, very possible. Yeah. Yeah.
That's why they got to. I mean, if they could beat Purdue at home, that would give them such a jolt, energy-wise, record-wise. Because then they'd be 5-6. They'd be back. They still would be probably on the wrong side of the bubble, but they'd at least be close. They lose to Purdue to go to 4-7. I mean, the men and women are almost in the exact same. They both could be 4-7 by the end of this week.
They could.
No, I guess the men's game is next. But they both could be 4-7 by the end of their next game, is what I'm saying. Yeah. And that's tough. That is a deep hole to climb out of when you're halfway through the conference. And I would say with the men playing Purdue and the women playing USC, I think the women face a little. I think USC is better as a women's team than the Purdue is as a men's team.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, because I've watched Purdue at times not look that great.
Yeah.
The problem with Purdue is Iowa's really bad at playing 3-point defense at times, and Purdue can really burn you on that.
Really bad.
So we'll see. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Purdue does not have that giant center, but I mean that Kaufman-Renz is playing really well. They're good. And Michigan State right now, they're running away. What are they, 9-0?
Yeah, undefeated. Yeah.
Yeah, they're running away with it right now. And I still don't think they're a great team.
No,
I really don't.
But they're the best of the Big Ten, right?
They come here
right now.
They come here, and if Iowa played up to its potential, and I could see Iowa giving them a game here.
Sure.
But Iowa does not have to play there, so that's a break. So we'll see. But it'll be weird if neither team makes the NCAA tournament. It's been a while since that has happened.
And there's a legit shot of that. There is. You're right.
It would be even bizarre if neither team made the NIT. Wouldn't that be strange? Now, the women have that thing, what's it called, the Crown Tournament? Or is that starting next year, where they're going to take the...
I guess I don't know anything about that.
Supposedly there's some type of tournament that they're going to do in Vegas with like 12 teams or whatever. They get them there for a 5-day single elimination tournament. Teams that don't make the NCAA tournament. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. I thought I heard Doctorman and Rob talking about it on their podcast the other day, and I don't know if it's for this year, but it will take them from Power 5, Power 4 conferences and have them play a 5, which, I mean,
that's interesting.
It's something different.
Yeah.
Because the men's NIT is better now now that they've made it harder to get into. The women's NIT though really seems like it hasn't taken off much.
No, not so much. Well, part of the reason is there aren't enough good women's teams. Yeah, I mean,
there's barely enough good teams to make the 68 field in either. Yeah, there's too many teams, and now they're talking about, aren't they talking? They want to expand it.
Yeah,
they want to get more teams in, just because more is more money, but after a while, the product starts to suffer if.
Well, yeah,
you start allowing too many teams in,
and then you get those 93 to 42 games,
which they already have now,
yes,
especially on the women's side.
That's right.
And then plus the women, you have the best teams hosting. You hope that someday they can change that. And that's one thing I wonder if the Caitlin effect can have that effect, because when you have a number one seed hosting and dominating, it's just not as competitive.
It isn't.
That's the next step for women's basketball, to be able to sustain without having a team have home court advantage to get fans. And I think they're moving towards that.
I think so, and. Yeah, because it was a huge advantage for Iowa, to have those games here. It was.
Well, if you look at that West Virginia game last year,
that was tough.
They wouldn't wanted to play West Virginia on their home
court.
No, even with Caitlin, that would have been a tough game.
That was a really tough game to watch.
Really, and then Creighton beat us 3 years ago, which was Lauren Jensen getting her revenge.
Yeah. I mean, that was a fluke, but it did happen.
It happened.
But no, that's to me the one biggest problem with the women's tournament is you're going to have South Carolina, Connecticut, all those teams hosting the first two rounds, and they're foregone conclusions mostly.
Yeah, they are.
But it is what it is. You can only do so much with the support you have. But yeah, when I saw that the Fever were doing that, I'm like, that's a smart move. I'm glad they're doing it at Carver as opposed to Wells Fargo, too. I mean, they could have easily gone to Wells Fargo, her hometown, but I'm glad they're making the University of Iowa connection. I know she's from Des Moines. I'm from Des Moines. Nothing against Des Moines. I just think Carver was a better idea in this case.
Well, I'm all for it.
But you would have went to Wells Fargo too, wouldn't you have?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
because I'm not going to go to Indianapolis and spend $600 for a nosebleed seat. I'm not going to do that.
Yep. Why don't you buy season tickets for the Fever?
Because they're probably $1 billion, aren't they?
I have no idea.
Hello.
I have no idea how much they would be.
Has there been any talk of moving it to Kinnick instead of Carver?
People were joking about that, but I'm not sure the Brazilian national team wants to play outside.
I don't know.
Too cold in May, or what's?
Well, it's wind. It's basketball's meant to be played inside. That was a neat novelty thing. I get it, but I'm not sure if the Brazilian team would be wanting to play outside with the wind and everything.
Preseason, what difference does it make?
Well, I just told you what the difference is. Playing outside, there's a lot of distractions and a lot of obstacles you have to overcome.
Wind could be rain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were joking about that, but no, I don't think that idea would fly.
Well, cancel the Brazilians and play the girls team.
What girls team?
The Iowa girls team.
Oh, play the university.
Play the men's team. Better yet, play the men's team.
Okay.
Okay, now we're really
grasping
at straws.
No.
Anyway, it'd be nice. More people could get there.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's...
All right.
It's just not practical.
I don't think the Fever would come here to play the University of Iowa women's team or men's team.
Well, it would be a 50-point loss.
They wouldn't do that. That's
women.
That's not even worth discussing. But the outside thing, if I'm the Brazilian team, I'm like, no, I don't want to play outside. I mean, that was a great thing that Iowa did, but I mean, I just don't see how that would be for a professional team to want to play. Because one of the biggest factors in that game outside, the wind was a factor that day.
It was.
Because I remember I was watching something, I think it was either Jan or when they talked about, it took Caitlin a while to make her first three in that game, if you remember. It was because of the freaking wind.
Yeah. and she threw up an air ball, which is rare
because of the wind.
Absolutely.
And I remember her. She just. I'm not making an excuse, but the wind took the ball away.
Oh, it did. It did.
But yeah, it'll be. I mean, the Brazilian national team. I don't know anything about them, but they've been good at times before. I mean, so it'll be interesting to see. Is this I assume this is the best Brazilian national team they have.
I would think. Didn't Camila Cardoso play on the Brazilian national team?
I think she did. I think she is
too.
from Brazil. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know if...
I don't think she would be doing that now since she's on a WNBA team.
Probably correct.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of roster they have, because if you're really good and from Brazil, you're probably in the WNBA now, or at least preparing to get there.
So.
But still, I think, like I said, I think it's a great idea. When I saw it, I'm like, yes, that's a great way to promote Caitlin, to say thank you to the University of Iowa, and I just thought it kind of filled all the boxes.
I think it's really fun. That's a good way to put it.
And the crowd will be crazy, and 800 line deep for ice cream. And parking will be just a complete pain in the ass. Traffic gridlock. What do you think of gridlock?
I don't like it.
I hate it. I blame it all on Caitlin, too. Don't you? Most of the gridlock I blame on her. I mean, I covered that women's game. Which was the women's game I covered for Dallas this year? And I hadn't been and there's a big difference between covering the men and women, traffic-wise.
Oh, yeah.
There just really is.
And we can tell when we're walking up to Carver, the parking lot, the dental parking lot, that tells you right there what the crowd's going to be.
Or if you go past, what's the Iowa Avenue Bridge, when you go up and you start going up around, and then when you get down the hill where they built the new roundabout, and then you start seeing cars, which were the women. I was stuck there for 40 minutes, didn't move for 40 minutes.
Incredible.
And that hadn't happened to me for years, and it was not fun. But I just forgot what it was like. I mean, not knocking it, but Tom, they still have some traffic. In some ways, they're fortunate they don't sell out every game, because it's just the system
rough.
Just doesn't work. It's rough.
No, it doesn't.
There's only one or two ways to get into all the lots, and it's just complete gridlock at times.
It does.
But there's nearly nothing they can do about it. I mean,
because people don't want to get there 2 hours early. In fact, they can't even get in. Isn't it an hour and a half?
Something like that. But it's just one of those. It's a nice problem to have, but it'd be nice if you could figure out a way to make the traffic flow go a little better. But it's a lot of people coming at the same time.
Yeah, it is.
And it'll be interesting. Oh, I'm sure that it'll be interesting to see how many people they let into that game in May. I mean, I know if they. I don't know.
Don't they have the same amount of tickets?
Well, yeah, I assume they do. I just want I don't know. It'll just be interesting to see. I mean, of course, they got to go by. They got to. I bet if they wanted to get 17 or 18,000 people in that arena, people would probably be willing to do it. Stand up on the concourse, but obviously you couldn't do that.
Well, probably. But you got the fire.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't stop Stringer.
No, it didn't.
How many did they have for that?
Was it 20?
What?
23,000?
But didn't the fire marshal get upset?
Oh, absolutely. Said this ain't ever going to happen again. Because it was.
Because weren't people just stuffed in the concourse and everything?
Concourse, aisles, yeah.
And what was that for? Because I was in college.
It was, let's set the record, a Guinness record.
I give her credit for doing it way back then. That was like for almost 40 years ago. And boy, they did do it. But I just remember reading in the Register the next day, this will never happen again. Because that could have been a catastrophe.
Oh, absolutely.
And like I said, but the same thing would happen if Iowa was allowed to do that for this exhibition game, don't you?
Yes.
I think 20-some people would try to stuff it.
I would imagine so.
Absolutely.
And I think some people would be willing just to stand in the concourse for the hopes of seeing Caitlin make a logo 3. I just think that's how much appeal she has.
And I can't wait till she takes a shot from
where she will.
Of course
she will. And part of the reason, too, is it's a preseason game.
Yeah.
She can experiment a little bit. But no, she's going to – I want her to take a shot from where she set the record.
Oh, exactly.
And she will.
Yes.
She will.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's so cool that she's not doing the NBA three-point shooting contest.
Yeah.
She's doing the women's one because the women's game is what means the most to her, as it should. And she wants her first one to be in the WNBA this coming May. And that's good. I was so glad when she did that. But it's just another case of her doing the right thing.
Yeah. She continually makes the right decisions, doesn't she?
Yeah, and what's funny is she would have greatly enhanced that men's. I couldn't care less about the men's NBA three-point contest. If Caitlin was in it, I'd watch it. But now I won't watch 1 second of it. I haven't watched the NBA All-Star game in years. I barely watch. No, I did watch, like LeBron had another, what do you have, 28 and 11 last night, and he had a couple dunks that were just, and I'm sitting there thinking, my God, he's 40. And he's like a foot and a half over the rim, and he's still chiseled. I mean, he is a freak.
A lot of people don't like him. Is it just political?
It's political, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because he's come out against, he's very liberal, far left, and so he's a woke communist, according to a lot of people. Well, it's just the world we live in now. It's just the way it is. Yeah. He's a woke communist, loves trans and all that stuff. If you express any support for that stuff, and it's not worth even. That's how divided we are.
Yeah. Well, we take a break, and we'll be back and talking about Lord knows what, whatever we want.
Once upon a time, in the land of the Hawkeyes, a business grew. A business that would become synonymous with real estate. Hi, I'm Steve Anderson of Hawkeye Title and Settlement. When you're buying or selling your home, you'll need title and settlement services. Consider the Hawkeye Title and Settlement team. Give us a call at 351-8600. Hawkeye Title and Settlement, the team you love, the people you trust.
Hello, this is Bill Leixnering from the Oxyoke Inn, inviting you to a place where you have your choice of 4 portion sizes. And when you order our famous family style, you can take your leftovers home. To a place where you can make reservations online at oxyokeinn.com or by calling and speaking to a person at the Oxyoke. A place where, compared to a hotel, our private banquet rooms are very affordable. But most important, our fresh food is prepared to order, and our servers have a passion for serving you. At the Oxyoke, we've been practicing since 1940, serving daily with a brunch buffet on Sundays. Oxyoke Inn, in the heart of Amana, where you'll always leave happy.
Are you tired of living in a home that doesn't quite meet your needs? Then it's time to call the experts at Streets Maintenance. Their team of skilled professionals specializes in renovations and remodeling, transforming your home into the space you've always dreamed of. From kitchen bath remodels to complete home renovations, no job is too big or too small. Streets Maintenance will work with you every step of the way to ensure your vision becomes a reality. So don't wait any longer. Call Streets Maintenance to schedule your consultation at 400-4483. Let's start building your dream home today.
You take great care to maintain your home or business inside and out. But maybe, just maybe, there's something missing. Something that makes your home stand out among the others in your neighborhood. Something that makes your business pop and increases traffic. Something that you can change and customize at your command. Well, there's a solution, and that's Illuminlight's permanent outdoor lighting from Big Dog Tech. Illuminlights provides illumination for every occasion. Holiday lighting, accent lights, security, and of course lighting for all your favorite sports. The Illuminlights app lets you create your own patterns with color, motion, brightness, and static control over every individual light, or use Big Dog's presets to transform your home or business. The professionally installed track system makes Illuminlight's LEDs virtually disappear until you turn them on. Rated at 50,000 hours, you'll enjoy stress-free convenience for years to come. For more information about Illuminlight's permanent outdoor lighting, go to BigDogTEK.net or give them a call at 319-395-0800. That's 319-395-0800.
Diamond Dream Sports Academy, 20,000 square foot indoor facility, holds 8 batting cages, space for infield work, space for throwing and pitching and all your arm care needs. Offers private instruction, group lessons, camps and clinics, leagues, memberships. Rentals available at Diamond Dreams is open to the public.
Our top level instructors include former professional, college, and Olympic athletes. Our coaches will help these athletes achieve their full athletic potential, develop a strong work ethic, and a solid base to build. The last thing you want to do is look back and wish you had worked or played harder.
Locally owned and established in 2005, Diamond Dreams is Eastern Iowa's premier training facility. Located at 2905 Stoner Court, North Liberty. Call today and reserve your time. 319-665-2173. 319-665-2173.
GT Carr, owner of Supple's Building and Remodeling, has been offering unmatched service and quality for over 25 years. The trained professionals at Supple's Building and Remodeling will install and guarantee the products used in any job, no matter how big or small. They also stand behind their work and offer no-nonsense, exceptional customer service from design to completion and beyond. Whether it's a simple window replacement or a major house addition, you'll have the confidence that Supple's Building and Remodeling is committed to quality. Visit Supples.net or call them today at 319-337-2246.
This is Leah Pasha, and I've been saying, hit a deer, call Premier for years. But it's time for something new. It's still where you need to go for deer divots and door dings, as well as damaged dashboards. That's what my dad Nathan's driving at and dreams about. Why not say, when your car is dinged, be a deer and call Premier? I think Dad's going to love that. Premier Automotive, North Liberty's premier auto body repair shop.
Be a deer and call Premier Auto Body in North Liberty.
Check out the best source for your Iowa City area high school sports coverage. Go to yourprepsports.com. Hi, this is Pat Harty. City High, West High, Liberty High, Regina, West Branch, Solon, Clear Creek, Amanic. Your Prep Sports has all the boys and girls high school sports you crave. You'll get free, in-depth reporting from dedicated sports journalists on your favorite teams: football, basketball, golf, volleyball, track, softball, and baseball seasons. Profiles, pictures, video, and more. Get in on the action. Go to yourprepsports.com today and spread the word.
1-800-800-ROSE. 1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist is the only number you need to know to send flowers anywhere in the country or Canada from anywhere in the country. 1-800-800-ROSE. It's so easy. Just remember one number. 1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist. 1-800-800-ROSE. Remember.
From the Hertine and Stalker Studios in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
Hertine and Stalker Jewelers, making memories, making moments.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Bormans. Some rain and areas of fog in the morning, otherwise mostly cloudy skies with highs in the mid-40s. You will notice that breeze as well in the afternoon. For tonight, partly cloudy skies with lows in the mid-20s. On your Saturday, mostly cloudy, a high of 42, and then back up to 53 on Sunday. That's the forecast on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Right now, it's 40 degrees.
KCJJ weather. Brought to you by Plum Supply.
Plum Supply, kitchens and baths. Your home never looks so beautiful.
And we are back with
Are we
Hawkfanatic.
back?
Yes,
We're back.
we are.
That's good. That's a good thing.
Okay.
Just checking to see if there's any news, which always seems to happen when I'm here. Not seeing anything at this point.
I did get a thing from Wild Rose, and they're going to be with us for like the next 10 days. So,
oh,
10 days.
Yeah, they're having a big special going on, hotel special and stuff.
For Valentine's Day or something?
Must be.
Okay.
I haven't looked at the creative yet, so I'm not sure. But
okay.
I'll get it to you this afternoon.
Thank you for that.
So they reach out, or do you reach out to them?
Well, both.
Yeah, because we're still working with them.
That's good. It's a neat place. I like the casino. Of course, I like casinos in general. I know.
Yeah.
Neither it's not your thing, Jim, and Pat, it's not your thing either. But
so why just 10 days?
It's just he probably just got the budget finalized.
Well, 10 days is better than no days.
Oh, hell yes. Hell yes.
So now it's back to being the greatest casino in the world.
Indeed.
Captain, if you're listening. Do you think Captain's listening right now?
I kind of don't. I don't think he is.
I hope he's not.
I hope he's not either.
I think he is, but I hope he's not.
He was up bright and early monitoring the chat room, though.
I bet he's listening. Maybe it's a distraction from his pain.
Well, it could be.
Could be.
Or he might just be, hopefully he can get some sleep.
Yeah. I hope that's my hope for. I know that he's going to be in pain for a few extra days and stuff, but I really hope he does get a lot of sleep while he's recovering.
The first week's going to be rough.
Yeah.
And I've never had a knee replacement, so I'm not speaking from a position of experience, but, I did experience it with Ann to a point, and Ann's mom. So, I mean, I sort of understand the process, but it is a process, and it takes time.
Well, anytime you have a surgery like that,
exactly,
you're in bed and you turn like you're normal, and all of a sudden you're.
It's an insult to your body.
It is.
I was told how bad the hernia recovery was going to be for me. It was nothing.
And you didn't have much trouble, did you?
I was home that night and was fine. Didn't have any pain.
Wow.
Never had any pain from my hernia surgery.
God, that's
now it's helped.
Is that unusual?
Well, the one thing they told me was not to gain weight and to try to lose weight because that's less strain on your abdomen.
Sure.
And so that's what I've really made a point of doing that. But yeah, I just never had any. It was nothing. I mean, that night I was like, God, I could. They're like, you need to be careful with how much you exercise. I could have walked a mile that night. I was fine. So yeah, I never had any really reaction to it at all.
So the last telephone call we got while Steve was on the air the other day was the guy said, hey, it's nothing, man. The next day I was going up and down the stairs, no problem.
Well, everybody responds differently.
They do.
That's right.
For some people, I mean, I know some people that have had trouble after hernia surgery, especially the kind I had, the abdomen hernia. I've had some people say their recovery process was really tough and painful. I never had any pain.
I had back surgery on New Year's Eve of 1986, and I was in such pain going in that coming out of it, after surgery, there was surgical pain, but it was so much better than it was.
Yeah, I didn't even have surgical pain. It was weird. It just tiny little incision.
Yeah.
Which is now gone. So, God, it's been almost 4 years since I had mine.
Wow.
Didn't you have yours right about the same time, Hunter?
Yeah. I was. They told me to stop working for a couple weeks. I probably could have come back in a week.
Oh, I could have been back the next day.
Yeah, I mean, I could get around.
Especially with the job, you sit down all day.
Yeah. It's
no offense. I mean, but you sit.
We're getting treadmills for everybody, so we're all going to be standing up from now on.
I like it.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
No, a lot of people. We bought one for Amy for her big Christmas gift. We haven't gotten it up to her workplace yet.
I don't
know how to.
I'm almost addicted to walking right now.
Yeah.
I do it every day. I mean, if I don't do it, the day just doesn't feel complete.
Well, that's good. If you're going to have an addiction, that's a good one.
And right now, I'm at 3,760 steps from today, and I did all those inside. It's going to be hard to walk outside because although is it raining now? It started to let up.
Kind of spitting, maybe.
But man, when I went to take my trash cans out, my grass by the curb, it's like a lagoon.
Yeah, because the ground's frozen. There's nowhere for it to go.
It's just
there is a flood watch out for south of us.
Yeah,
because they're getting more rain than we are. So ponding and stuff like that. There is a warning for ponding on roads and in yards.
I have it on my sidewalk. There's probably 3 inches of water just on my sidewalk where it's all settled.
Is that a word, ponding?
Yes.
Is that what they use?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Well, like our parking lot, we've got some ponding going on right now.
You mean potholes, Jim?
No. Where
it collects?
Yes.
Well, it's collecting in the potholes, too, because
it is. Of course it is.
I tried to dodge them on my way in. But yeah, no, the big thing they kept stressing to me with surgery is weight, because they don't like to operate if you're excessively overweight, because it's obviously strain on your body.
Mm-hmm.
So that I remember that's the one thing. He goes, if you want to make sure you're not back here again with this hernia, he goes,
watch
your weight, and just get active. So I've kind of taken that to heart, no pun intended.
Well, and Steve's lost some weight over the last few years.
But he's never been really. I've never ever thought of Captain as being fat.
I wouldn't say so. Not morbidly obese. I mean, of course, anybody with any extra weight anymore is morbidly obese, it seems.
Well, yeah, now you can be. Yeah, I think the scale's now a little extreme.
Yeah.
I would say.
I think so.
And people are built differently too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people have different bone structure and what have you, but no, like I said, I just like walking because it's just at my age now. I never would have dreamed that I would be, because I was always anti-exercise. All I like to
listen to music?
Sometimes, but most I just have myself. Yeah, I always have my phone on me because that monitors my steps.
Or are you like Podasky? Do you read
a
novel?
Well, I'll be on social media and call up certain things. But no, I listen to music. I'll listen to a lot of music videos too. I got a ton of music videos on my Twitter feed line because with Twitter, the moment you show any interest in anything, then your whole thing just gets flooded with. Yeah. It's just too much.
Like three. Oh, we have a call.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay.
Yeah, that when I was thinking with Steve, and a lot of times he'd talk about his weight on the radio for years and stuff, but I think especially now when hopefully if that knee has him less pain so he gets out and walks more. And I had this problem where about every 10 years it seems like I'm gaining 10 pounds and I just can't stop it. And so when the year 2000 hit, here I was at 200 pounds, and my insurance guy had, back then they give you this little walker's counter thing that you put on your belt, and I was taking 10, 15,000 steps a day, and I discovered too, just standing and washing dishes, you're taking steps if you're standing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, well, I weigh 200 pounds, 10,000 steps. I'm moving 2 million pounds a day. And people say, oh, no, you can't, because it's inertia, you're standing up, But I was working one place where we had these scales that accumulate weight to total up the weight you're going to put into a smaller truck. And I moved the two scales next to each other, and I just bounced on the two scales 20 times. So it just didn't take very long. Now there's a ton of weight on each scale. And I go, that just didn't happen there magic. I put that weight there.
Right. So how tall are you?
Is really important. And, as Steve can feel better and walk more, and that's where everybody will gain, or, you control your weight more. Walking is just so important.
How tall are you?
5'10".
5'10", 200. Yeah, that's not awful.
Yeah. Where my weight started, when the Hawks went to the Rose Bowl in 1981, I realized I gained 10 pounds. I knew that I was gaining, from high school, I had gained 10 pounds each decade. And I gained 10 pounds at the Rose Bowl, and this is how it happened. There's a pavilion where they decorate floats right across the street from where you can see the rose on the Rose Bowl.
Uh-huh.
And we got lucky and was invited to park in. There used to be like a couple of baseball fields or something right there. And the guy that invited us to park our motorhome in there was a bunch of us guys from the University of Iowa Sailing Club. And they said, but you got to come in and help us work on floats. Well, there was, I forget how many float companies in that building, but each float company had a big table of free catered food that is replaced 4 times a day. And,
wow.
And one, 4 times, including one time at night, I think they replaced it again at 11 o'clock at night. So there was 3 or 4 different places we could eat off tables, because we just end up working on all the floats everywhere. And, when we weren't running around town doing something, we were down there working on floats, but we were constantly eating. And it was the greatest thing. I don't know if you can still do that now, but if you ever get to a Rose Bowl, and we've been to these Rose Bowls.
I went to the last one.
Hawks weren't even playing out there.
Yeah, I went to the last one.
You go to the back gate, and you look up and down the street, and you might see something that says Bent Float Company on the side of a truck. And you just tell the guard, we're here to work on floats for Bent Float Company. And they'll just let you right in, because they need they need help so bad.
Well, if I go to the next Hawkeye Rose Bowl, I might be in my 90s, but I'll look for that place.
Yeah, yep.
All right.
And anyway, you guys are doing a great job.
Hey,
thanks a lot now.
Thank you for the call.
Bye.
Bye now.
Don't they have that on cruises, Tom?
I was just going to say that's exactly what they do on cruises. And, you can eat around the clock if you want.
It's like a midnight buffet.
But you have to show some restraint. I mean,
one would think. Of course, when it's free food, and some people just can't.
Yeah, but I don't need to eat at 11 o'clock at night.
No.
I mean, I did in the band. We would have something to eat after we played, but most people don't do that.
Whole different lifestyle.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, it was the gentleman that called in a couple of days ago, about being able to go up and down steps, the next day.
Yeah.
And the thing that my orthopedic doctor did is he wrote out a prescription, and he said, you go to the physical therapy, get yourself stronger. He said, your surgery would go better putting a new knee in than if you wait and do it after you get your knee in. He said, get your legs stronger. He said, it'll benefit you so much. And I did.
And that makes sense.
It's just been, the thing of it is, when your legs hurt, you get idle. You don't want to walk. You don't want to go anything.
Sure,
you sit around, You just get lazy and fat. And
sure, and if it hurts, you don't want to walk. Of course not.
That's right. And I did want to walk, and I did that for three plus years easily, And as of right now, I'm just driving down to go to the fitness gym, and it's been just a total different lifestyle.
Oh, well, good
and
for
anybody
you.
who is afraid of it, I just want to say don't be afraid. Some people may have, not get along as good, Some people just, bounce right through it. But a lot of it's in mental attitude,
Everybody's different.
Yeah, they are.
But that makes sense. Thank you. But that makes sense to, ramp it up before you go in. And then, sure, your odds are better. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for the call.
Yeah.
Rehab talk.
You're listening to Knees Are Us. 1630 KCJJ.
Well, I got to admire you for, Pat, for doing all those steps. I mean, because you're, other than, you're a sports writer, you could very easily just sit in front of your computer all day. But you make yourself active so that you don't end up, gaining a bunch of weight.
And I could never sit in front of my computer all day. That's just not me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. That's just not me. It's hard enough to sit in front of it as much as I do.
Yeah.
I'm to the point now where I'd rather be walking than sitting in front of my computer. Whereas 20 years ago, I probably wasn't like that.
Probably, yeah.
But I was never much of an exercise. I love sports and played sports, but I played sports. I didn't train. I just played them. I mean, I love shooting baskets, but it's not like I was setting up chairs and doing dribbling stuff like Caitlin did as a kid. I mean, I played that. I like shooting baskets because it was fun.
Yeah.
What have you. But no, the walking thing is just something that I've got into now, and and I like it better than jogging because it's
easier
on your joints.
Yeah, it is.
And like I was looking, it's a nice thing to have this phone too because it tells you exactly where you are. Like I'm averaging, in the last 7 days, I've averaged 15,436 steps a day.
Wow, that's
and
really good.
For the year, I'm averaging 13,925, whereas last year I averaged 10,106.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, 10 was and see, that's what you do. 10 was the original summit. Now, when I get to 10, I'm like,
I've still got some more time.
Yeah, I've still got some more time, and it's just a nice way to burn 400, 500 calories a day too. So if you drink 4 beers, you're walking off all the calories from those beers.
Yeah.
Last night I had 3 beers and burned almost 500 calories. So I was pro calories over beer.
That's good.
I mean, 3 beers the kind I drink has like 270 calories because I drink light beer that has like 90 calories per. God, I was looking at some of those IPAs have like 180.
Oh, God, yeah.
220 calories per can.
Yeah, and some of those, if you drink one, it just blows your brains out because they're so
some of them
much alcohol.
The highest I saw I've ever seen at Hy-Vee's 12.9. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's 3 times more the alcohol in one can than is in one of the cans I drink. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are. But they're also expensive too.
Yeah.
Has that Iowa Swarm come down at all in price?
I don't think so.
That's been the biggest complaint I've had from fans. It's just too damn expensive.
Well, it is. I mean, and
isn't it $20 a 12-pack?
Yeah.
Or is it a 6?
Yeah, it is.
I think it's $20 a 12-pack.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
For a 12-pack of beer.
But I do that for our tailgates.
Yeah.
The Swarm.
Yeah.
Is it good beer? I've never had it.
It's
Is it like a light? What's it like?
It's a golden ale,
okay. Right.
But to me it tastes more like a lager than it does.
So like how many calories does a bottle of Swarm beer have in it? Do you know?
Like 100? One of the big cans, probably
150, 200. Okay.
Hello.
Hey, good morning, fellas.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, when is the East-West Shrine game?
I thought it was last. I saw a tweet yesterday that Luke Lachey was playing in something last night at 7 o'clock, and I got to thinking, why would they have it on a Thursday night? But I could be wrong. I haven't followed it as closely as I probably should because I know Y.A. Black and Luke are both playing, and so is Sebastian Castro.
It was last night.
Yeah, I thought I think it was last night.
And Higgins was playing too, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
And then Cam Miller from Solon, he played.
I kind of wished I would have watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was this weekend. Otherwise, I would have watched.
Why would they do something like that on a Thursday night?
I don't know. I don't know.
Bizarre.
Are you surprised they still do that?
Have those kind of games?
No, because it's scouting.
Yeah, I mean, well, I know, but from a injury standpoint?
No, because I think a lot of these players need it. I think they go down there thinking, man, I need a good week to improve my stock. I think they risk the injury for the chance to improve their stock.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, fellas, cheer on the Hawkeyes tonight. Got a big test in front of them with Penn State.
Yes, they do.
They do.
And I'll tell you, from most of the reactions I've seen on Twitter, Penn State fans don't think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be closer than they think. Do I think Iowa's going to win? No. But I don't. I mean, I had a couple. I saw Penn State 33-6, 38-3.
I don't think it'll be that.
I don't think it'll be that. I think Iowa's going to win.
No, I don't either.
I think they're going to win 3 matches. I think they'll win 3 out of the 10 matches.
Well, if you were placing bets on last night's game, the East won 25-0.
Wow.
They scored 22 points in the second quarter, and then 3 in the third, and that was it for the rest of the game.
Wow.
Wow.
Sorry, I missed that one.
Too bad. Yeah. All right, fellas, keep up the good work.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks.
So who lost again?
The West.
Okay, because my buddy just texted, so was the West running Iowa's offense. Mean but funny. Mean but funny. It is funny.
That is hard.
You got to be able to joke. You got to be able to joke, especially since they're not quite as horrible as they used to be on offense. At least last year they weren't.
So they tried to get on the board with the last second 55-yard field goal and it missed.
You imagine pitching a shutout in an East-West Shrine game? That's kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
It is.
But I don't follow. I've never really followed that stuff very closely.
No, but back in the day,
I just hope nobody gets hurt.
Back in the day, I would watch those games
But
because
I
watched almost everything that came on.
But now there's so much more to watch.
It
just gets lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, it
almost.
does. And I'm not.
There's just so much on right now.
Yeah, and I am not interested.
But I think Y.A. Black's got a chance to have a long career in the NFL if he can stay healthy. I really do.
I sure hope so.
He's got an NFL body. I think he'll be a good run stopper. Jay Higgins, I think, has a chance. Obviously, he's a very undersized. So is Nick Jackson.
Yep.
That's the big problem with those. Maybe they can make doing something on special teams. Who else? Sebastian Castro, I think he's got a chance. I mean, I think he'd be another one that would be a really good special teams player. Then Jamari Harris, well, he obviously thinks he has a really good chance because he skipped the last 2 games.
Yeah.
And I definitely think if you're a 3-year starter at cornerback for Iowa with 7 career interceptions, that's pretty established.
Yeah.
I know some people were really pissed that he didn't play those last 2 games. I don't make judgments on those because I don't know the personal circumstances.
No.
And if somebody's doing it because they don't want to get hurt because they have a chance to make more money, it's hard to criticize that.
It is.
It really is.
It was on the NFL Network last night, so chances are they'll be rerunning it.
Oh, I even have the NFL Network.
I think you can get the app or I think there is some way you can watch some of the stuff for free, especially after it's over. But I don't know for sure.
I was tired. I ended up going. I think I laid down on the couch last night at 8:30, and the next thing I knew, it was 2:00 in the morning.
Oh wow!
The problem with that though is by then you've already almost got your night. That was 5.5 hours sleep, right? Yeah. I ended up sleeping like another hour on the couch, and I'm sitting there at 4 in the morning. Like, what the hell do I do now? It's 4 in the morning. It's dark out. I mean, I'm sitting there. I'm like, I have no dog to talk to. In the old days, I would have maybe taken the dogs for a walk or something.
Maybe you should get yourself a dog.
There's so much that goes into that.
Well, I know.
And the last 2 dogs I've had were dumped on me. It's not like I went out and got them. They were dumped on me. Gladly, they were dumped on me, but that's just how it worked out. But
it was one of my favorite Monkees songs. I'm gonna buy me a dog. Oh, yeah. A dog? Why? Because I need a friend now.
Were you sad that Marianne Faithfull died?
Yeah, that bummed me out.
I thought she was older than 78.
Well, she lived a hard life.
Yes,
she was heroin.
She was,
or cocaine, or both.
She was huge in the pop scene in the swinging '60s, and she got in with the Rolling Stones. And
well, yeah, she dated Mick
Jagger
They broke up, and she lost her baby and had a suicide attempt. and then throughout her life, heavy smoking and drug addiction. She kicked that.
Well, she did a lot of drinking too, didn't she?
Yes.
And still, she lived till she was almost 80.
Yeah.
But she changed from this like waifish voice to this like Marlene Dietrich, really low French kind of sounding voice, and her voice is the later stuff is really cool. She actually did the song Sister Morphine and released it before the Rolling Stones did, because she was a co-writer, although the Stones didn't give her credit at first. She had to fight for it. And the newer editions of Sticky Fingers has her as a writer on that song. But yeah, she will be. I pulled some old songs of hers up to play tomorrow on our little British show on KFMH.
Because her big hit was "As Tears Go By."
Yes,
but didn't the Stones made that famous too? Didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Yes,
but she had the hit first.
Well, didn't they write it?
They did.
Keith wrote it, didn't he, or Mick?
Yeah, they said she said that their manager locked them in the kitchen and said, "Write a song for her," and that's what came out.
Not a bad song.
It's a heck of a song. Yeah.
Not a big Stones fan, but that one.
I'm not either, but that was the first song of theirs. Boy, that's really good.
And for young guys to do something like that, I mean, it was very mature lyrics. I think. I just was kind of, when I think about it, they were in their early 20s when they wrote
There's
that.
a famous picture of her sitting with Mick when she was dating him, and then I guess some famous actor from either Italy or some good-looking man.
Yeah.
And the caption underneath it was like, Mick's having a hard time with this one because this guy, he was a very attractive. Whereas Mick, at times, didn't you use the word repulsive one time?
And will again.
At times, he's hard to look at.
I don't.
I can't remember the guy's name, but I know which picture you're talking
and
about.
He's wearing pink pants and like an orange blazer, and he almost looks more feminine than her in this photo.
Yes, and he's dashing. I mean,
yeah,
and I say that with an unblemished record of heterosexuality.
Yes, I know what you're
dashing. Alain Delon or something
like that. And Mick looked a little intimidated
he
on the
looked
couch.
Forlorn.
Yeah.
I think Marianne and that guy dated for a while. They were in a movie together.
Okay.
A girl on a motorcycle.
But I forgot she was still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, of course, all of the musicians and actors and stuff of that age group, we're losing a lot of them.
Gene Hackman turned 95 yesterday.
That's unbelievable.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
And he's living the life. He's got a place in New Mexico.
But somebody showed a picture of him. Yeah, and he definitely.
He's not looking good.
He looks 95.
Somebody was ripping him. They're like, dude, he's 95 years old. He still was. And the funny thing is, he had a pack of cool cigarettes. Still smoking cigarettes.
Atta boy.
It just goes to show you sometimes it's just the luck of the draw. I don't know if he's been smoking. Do you think can we assume that means he's been smoking for probably 70 years?
It's possible.
Can you imagine? Isn't that amazing what your lungs can put up with?
God, can't imagine.
I mean, you did it for what, 15?
Yeah. And I loved everyone I ever had, and I did.
But yeah, I saw him carrying it looked like some type of water bottle with a pack of cool cigarettes. I'm like, God, there he is. At first, I didn't recognize. He's just way skinnier than he used. But he's 95.
Right. My dad smoked for 70 years.
Yeah. It is amazing.
Started when he was 13 or something.
It's incredible.
Like that. Yeah.
And now, if you go to the casino in Riverside, packs of cigarettes, $20.
Holy
hey, I'd do it too if I was a casino. If people are willing to pay.
Hey.
And you're talking about those prices for those tickets for the. I agree with you that it's ridiculous that Molly had to.
Yeah.
But the market's dictating that.
Oh, that's what I said.
If people weren't
Molly.
stupid enough to pay this amount of money to see someone sing, then that wouldn't happen. But people are.
Yeah.
And I guess the word stupid's not fair. It
pisses Molly off. She says it because the normal person can no longer go to these events, and that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of music I would pay a lot of money to go see these days, live. Not a lot.
I mean, I paid several hundred to go see McCartney.
Yes. That would be one.
And
I'd see
more than happy.
I'd see Steely Dan again if they were, even though Walter Becker's not around, as long as Donald Fagen can still sing.
I saw him without Fagen or without Becker, and it was great.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a crack band with him. And
oh, man.
How long ago was that?
Well, we both saw him at the same time.
They had two guitar players that were just shredding.
How long ago was that?
It was a couple years, right?
It was just before COVID.
So,
right.
Yeah, think about that. That's 5-6 years ago.
Uh-huh.
So, that makes a big difference when they get to be their age. But yeah, and I like if Pink Floyd came back, or Led Zeppelin, I would pay a lot. Now I wouldn't pay more than $500 for any of that stuff. I just wouldn't. Even if Jim Morrison came down from the heavens, I don't think I'd spend $500 or more than $500 to see the Doors. Well, he'd have to bring Ray Manzarek down with him too.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just amazed at what some people will pay to see sports and music events.
Well,
but that's their business.
You know, if you have S ton of money.
But I don't think all the people that do that have an S ton of money.
No, that's true,
I think
too.
some people do it when they really can't afford it.
And that's true also.
Yeah, I think because I think a lot of people that have an S ton of money probably have other things to do. You know.
Yeah.
You know. So, but who knows? But it is amazing though that how expensive tickets are for sporting events.
It is.
What people will pay to sit courtside at like the NBA. You look and those are $6,500 a game. That's just mind-boggling.
It is. It is.
Well, the Led Zeppelin documentary comes out a week from today.
Yep.
And where is that streaming?
It ain't streaming. It's going to be an IMAX.
IMAX only?
To start. And then I've heard that it's going to go to other theaters after that. My guess is it'll be on streaming within 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to wait to watch it on stream.
But the Palms Theater and IMAX in Waukee is going to be a place where you can see it.
And does Davenport still have that
it's
IMAX?
A limited release on the 5th, and I know there is an IMAX theater at the Putnam Museum in Davenport.
Yes, so there's only going to be one theater in Iowa that's...
Well, I'm looking to see.
God, imagine that. And as much as I love Led Zeppelin, I ain't driving to Waukee to see their documentary. No. I'll wait till it comes out on stream. I've seen little parts of it, though. Like I said, that video of John Bonham playing the drums at like 8 or 9 years old, this grainy old black and white video, that's pretty wild.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty wild. I had never seen that before.
We did see the new Beatles documentary, Beatles 64, which was interesting. Nothing particularly earth-shaking.
I've been told in this documentary that there's some really neat discussion with Jimmy Page about how he evolved as a guitarist. Because there's that video of him appearing on that English pop show, and he's like 12, 13. They ask him his name. He goes, James Page.
Yeah.
You know, James Page. And he's wearing this V-neck sweater. He looks like he came right out of a Catholic school.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, God, that's the Led Zeppelin guitarist who supposedly worshiped the devil in the 70s. You remember that talk? That if you play a Led Zeppelin album backwards, it would be the devil talking to you?
Oh, that did that with the Beatles album
Yeah.
Turn Me On, Dead Man.
Yeah. Well, they had, didn't they premiere the movie at like the Cannes Film Festival or a film festival, the Zeppelin documentary, and got a standing ovation?
That I don't know.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I did read that, and I can't remember what.
Well, the other thing is Led Zeppelin was completely dedicated. The 3 surviving members, they cooperated fully with this thing.
Which is very cool.
Yeah, because I've heard Robert Plant talk about how they knew the first time they were together. They're like, this is it. We got it. We got it. And, one had come from the Yardbirds. It's not like they came from just completely nowhere.
Yeah, and Jimmy Page was
he was a very successful. And I think he was sort of the key to the whole thing. He got the band.
Oh, I think, and Robert Plant would tell you the same thing.
Yes, because he was more established than any of the others.
Yeah. And Robert Plant will say so. He said, look, this is really Jimmy.
Yes.
I did, he said, I contributed some vocal and some melodies to make things better, he said, but really it's Jimmy.
And Robert's voice fit perfectly with it. And the other thing is John Paul Jones gets overlooked, but his bass and
bass player.
He's got great and keyboard. And a lot of the stuff sounds from Zeppelin that you love, John Paul Jones is producing those sounds.
Yeah, he produced the song by the Stones, "She's a Rainbow."
Yep, and that's my favorite Stones song.
It's a great song.
And he does the bass. He does the bass in "Ramble On."
Oh yeah,
and the bass in "Bring It On Home" is incredible.
Oh God, yeah.
They just all fit perfectly. And
I have one of his solo albums, and it's instrumental, and it's kick ass.
I love the harpsichord on.
To me, John Paul
is just great.
To me, John Paul's sort of like what George Harrison was for the Beatles. Beatles, kind of the quiet guy who kind of didn't mind staying in the background, but was very talented.
He was very upfront in their last studio album, the In Through the Outdoor.
Which I like that album, but it didn't do very well successfully.
No, people didn't like the...
Fool in the Rain's one of my top favorite Zeppelin songs of all time. Love that song.
What's the name of it?
Fool in the Rain.
I don't think I know
you'd know it right away if you heard it.
Would I?
Yeah, you'd know it right away. Well, there's a line,
There's an instrumental break in the middle of it where the whistle, you blow a whistle and it goes into like this
I got no reason to doubt
rhythm?
you, baby. It's
Calypso,
all a
got kind of a calypso break in the middle of it.
I'm going to go home and crank it. Can't play it here because it doesn't fit the format.
Yeah.
Even though it was somewhat popular commercially, it came out in '79.
Yeah, and there was like 8 different.
You'd recognize it.
It came in a paper bag.
Yeah.
And you couldn't see the cover, and it had like 8 different covers. Very different. Not. I mean,
Well,
it was
the guy sitting in the white trench coat or white suit coat sitting at the bar.
Yeah,
that was
it's just different angles.
But that album didn't do very well, and Presence didn't do very well. That's why they were starting that. They were trying to kind of re-energize.
He didn't record that when he was still in a wheelchair. Robert Plant.
That I don't know.
He had a bad car accident.
But Presence and In Through the Outdoor did not do very well by their standards.
You know, they could still make $1 zillion touring.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
But they never
Jason Bonham.
They never really have.
No,
they wouldn't do that out of respect for John.
They reunited for the Atlantic Records. Was it? 50th
Yeah, they did.
anniversary?
They've done a couple
one-off things, but not hey, let's go see Zeppelin.
Well, they released a statement shortly after he died saying we cannot see ourselves carrying on as a band, and I'll never forget that because most bands carry on.
Oh, you bet.
I mean,
and the Stones famously said that if there was one member that we couldn't carry on without, it would be Charlie Watts, and guess what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the hardest for the Stones would be probably Mick.
I would say Mick.
Yeah.
Just because he's,
And
repulsive or not, he is.
Yeah.
He does have an amazing presence to him.
Yes, he does.
They were planning on announcing a European tour this month or next month, and apparently it's been canceled. And they haven't really said anything why.
Canceled due to old age.
Well, probably.
I mean,
probably some health issues.
I only say that half jokingly. I mean, they're in. It's not like these guys are in their these guys are in their 80s.
Yeah, and they do have to have, they have to pass a physical, for insurance purposes, to do these things, and God only knows which one of them probably didn't pass.
Well, they appear to be in tremendous shape for their age.
Mick Jagger is fantastic at his age.
Does he still drink?
He still occasionally will have a beer, yeah. But I mean,
actually, I see him a lot. I see a lot of times if he's tweeting something, I've seen him with a beer in his hand.
Like in a pub or something like that. But, his dad was a physical education teacher, and he ended up teaching American students about like English football and stuff like that when they were on Army base. He had a job doing that.
Well, there is something different between doing heroin and speedball and drinking Southern Comfort as opposed to drinking a little beer and smoking weed. Wouldn't we agree?
Yes, we
because that is kind of what Keith Richards says was his sobriety, was smoking just a little weed and drinking some wine and beer. Can you imagine that being sobriety?
Well, comparatively, it is.
For a lot of people, that's college.
Okay, yeah.
And then you start to mellow out. The idea of sobriety is what a lot of us try to avoid. I always thought that's funny.
There's a great story Peter Wolf tells about. He got Keith Richards to play on a song of his on his solo album, and the liner notes are hilarious. He goes, "We're waiting for Keith," and the door opens, and the guy has got a little forklift, and he's got a case of Fanta or Sunkist Diet Orange, and 2 cases of gin. And like 2 hours later, Keith comes in. They make a big dent in it, and then they record, and it's kind of messed up, but it's only a 2.5-minute song, and they go, we were going to try and do it again, but the feel's there, and it's a little sloppy, but it's hilarious.
Wow. Who was that?
Peter Wolf from the Jay Giles Band.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Too Close Together is the name of the song.
Yeah, I was never a Jay Giles. That Love Stinks and
Yeah.
Centerfold.
I really wish I'd have seen them live.
I hated that song.
Me too.
And Centerfold, wasn't that them too?
Yeah,
I didn't like Centerfold.
That was a little bit more commercial than the Jay Giles.
Well, that was
Band
MTV.
used to
That
be.
was the peak of MTV. They probably made a lot of money on that song.
Yeah,
Freeze Frame was a huge.
Oh, yeah,
huge
that song.
That whole album was their huge deal. Love Stinks was kind of on the way there, but then there's like Must Have Got Lost, Looking for a Love.
Yeah, I just
Whammer Jammer, and
never
stuff
worked for me.
Nah, not really.
Really would have liked to have seen them live. But
I would like to have seen Led
How much
Zeppelin.
would you pay now if the band was together?
He's dead, isn't he, Peter Wolf?
No, he's still alive.
He's still alive?
Yeah, Jay Giles is dead.
Okay.
But yeah, Peter Wolf is.
See, I used to think that there wasn't a Jay Giles, just like there's no Manfred Mann. I thought they were that was their name, but I didn't realize because Peter Wolf sort of overshadowed Jay Giles, obviously.
Yeah,
but there was no Manfred Mann.
His name was Jay but he just went by J.
Okay.
J. Period Giles. But
Yeah.
And Peter Wolf was married to Faye Dunaway for a long time.
For a long time.
Yeah. I don't know that I
must have been rough duty.
Yeah.
Well, she in her day, she was a.
She's still.
Oh,
She's
boy.
still alive.
She still
too.
looks good.
I watched Bonnie and Clyde last week. It was on Turner Classic Movies, and yeah, she's a looker, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when that. I think I watched that. Wasn't Michael J. Pollard in there?
Yes.
Yes.
I think he
sure
was. He was nominated for a
Yes, he was.
Academy Award in that.
And Gene Hackman.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He was Bonnie or Clyde's brother, wasn't he?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. People were. They weren't arguing, but they were debating their favorite Gene Hackman movies, and mine would be Mississippi Burning and Hoosiers.
That's a
probably.
great one. I forgot about Mississippi Burning.
Mississippi
That's so
Burning
good.
would be number one. Hoosiers number two. And
Hoosiers
probably
would
French
be
Connection.
one for me.
French Connection would be number three. I love French
And hilarious in Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, I just never liked that movie.
Frankenstein.
But I love that scene in Mississippi Burning in the little beer pub up above
yeah.
with all the racists.
Oh, God.
When he grabs him by his, you know what?
Yeah.
And, don't you mistaken me for somebody I'm not. You. I can't say the word, but that was classic Gene Hackman.
And you
keep pushing me, Hoover boy.
The first Superman
You seen
movie.
Mississippi Burning?
Yes, but yes.
That's
been
one
a
of those
while.
movies where if it's on, I start watching it.
Now, was that the one where the
Civil rights?
three of the
Yeah.
three people?
It was
were
an
murdered?
embellished version of the civil rights story, but it was just
William Dafoe was in that too.
Willem
right?
Dafoe
Yes.
was in it. He was actually Gene Hackman's boss.
Yeah, that was a
Remember
powerful
Billy Babbitt?
movie.
Remember Billy Babbitt from
One Flew
One
Over the
Flew Over?
Cuckoo's Nest.
He was the guy who did the shootings. He was the deputy sheriff, and he played his character well. I mean, because I hated him during that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that movie came out in 1988. Think about that, 37 years ago.
Wow.
But when I see stuff like Gene Hackman, it reminds me how old I'm getting.
Yeah.
When I see Gene Hackman at 95 and he looks every bit as 95.
Well, then you
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
And like when you said that came out so many years ago, and it's the 50th anniversary of this, and
Yeah, it's depressing.
50 years ago, I was in high school, and I think about I've been alive for over half a century.
But I think about that would be you 24 years from now. What Gene,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he's made it this far, and he's living
Well,
on
if
his
I
own.
make it 24 more years, it ain't going to be pretty at that point.
You don't think?
Well, I look at the mirror now and I say, "What the hell happened
Yeah,
here?"
mirrors are.
Yeah, they're not nice.
Mirrors are overrated.
Well, I guess they're not kind to older people.
You seen Clint Eastwood lately?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
He's right. He's in his 90s.
And he
now,
doesn't
too.
look like he's even trying.
No.
Like he's got his shirts
God,
tied.
that'd be me. That'd be me in 35 years. I can't even think
Yeah,
that
I know.
far ahead. But hey, we want to all live as long as we can, I
do.
guess.
With our faculties.
With our faculties, yes. That's why I was fortunate my parents didn't have to go very long. Got a little rough at the end for both of them for different reasons, but
My
nothing
mom
was ever too bad.
My mom was sharp as a tack.
My dad was sharp as a tack. My mom, who was a lot sharper than my dad, and just every day, my mom ran everything in the house.
Yeah.
I mean, if I took a glass of pop without her knowing it, she knew. Whereas my dad, whatever, he didn't know. But my dad's mind was still, nope, his body just gave out. But he
Yeah.
was 92.
Well, yeah.
My mom was 91.
My mom was 92.
What they died? Well, they partly died of old age.
Yes.
I'm of the opinion that each body has its own finite sets of heartbeat, and depending on how you live, you either get another 10% or lose a 10 to 15%.
Some of it's luck of the draw.
A lot of it is, because there are people that live to their 90s that smoke 3 packs a day and
Yep.
drink booze.
Well, there's
all
people
the
that
time.
don't drink booze, die of liver disease.
Exactly. So I think it's more of a, you live your life the best way you know how.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had 3 beers last night. Thought about opening the 4th, and I'm like, no, I'm too tired, and I went to sleep. I'm not even sure if I drank the rest of the 3rd one, so I had 2.5 beers last night. Cans, too. I didn't have bottles. Cans are not the same.
No.
I don't like drinking out of cans. I never finish them. It's like when I go to clean up the next day, it seems like every can I leave like a third of it because they're just hard to drink out of.
Jeez, I've always finished whatever
I've got a
I'm
really-
drinking, I finish.
I have a really bad habit of not finishing beers. I've been like that forever.
It's pretty rare if I pour out.
I mean, back in the day, when people would put their cigarettes out in a can of beer,
Oh, yeah.
take a sip of the beer and feel the filter hit you.
I've had that. I was notorious for leaving like beers half drank on tables and stuff like that.
Yes.
God, I used to play quarters. Did you ever play quarters?
Yeah.
A germaphobe like me, and
Not
I played
much,
quarters.
but we did some. Played some in the band.
Probably not a more filthy game you could play if you think about it.
We'd play some quarters after gigs sometimes. With if we went to an after party.
Yep,
Yeah.
it was really big in the 70s and early 80s.
Yeah, it was.
But now you think about the lack of sanity. You're dropping a filthy piece of coin in there, and then you're chugging it and hoping you don't swallow the quarter.
Yeah.
I saw that happen a couple of times.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
So we got wrestling in, 7.5 hours? I'm glad it's at 6 instead of 8. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to watch. I might even I might write a column based on what
I might check in.
I hope.
I hope
I hope they can upset them. I think wrestling needs that.
I think it would be great.
And it's easy for me to say that the team that I cover, but I think the sport of wrestling now. I think they have a better chance in the duel than they do in the NCAA tournament. I think Penn State is built to dominate the NCAA tournament. But with a duel, man, 1 or 2 matches can swing everything. So we'll see. Yeah, it's at 6 o'clock, Big Ten Network. And I know they're fired up for it out there. But I just think a lot of Penn State fans are, Iowa, please.
Yeah.
And, they've earned that for now, but that doesn't mean – Iowa's done some roster building here. So, like I said, I'm looking forward to it. And I'm not a huge wrestling fan.
Go prove them wrong.
No.
But I am looking forward to this.
I'll look in on it.
All right.
So you got some police reports coming up?
I believe we do.
All right. Tommy Lang, Jim Hunter with police reports coming up, followed by Molly Suter, the Molly Suter Show. And thanks for listening, everybody. Hawkfanatic. Check it out. It's free.
There's a problem here in East